In the opulent halls of a Manhattan penthouse, a billionaire lay bedridden, his health deteriorating despite the efforts of 20 top doctors from around the world. Specialists pored over charts, ran tests, and debated diagnoses, yet none could pinpoint the cause of his decline. Amid the flurry of medical experts, a black housekeeper named Evelyn Harris, who quietly tended the household, observed something no one else had. When she spoke up, her simple observation, missed by the brightest minds in medicine, changed everything, leaving the billionaire and his team stunned by her insight. Evelyn Harris grew up in Harlem, raised by her grandmother, Ruth, a home health aide who cared for elderly neighbors. Ruth's work exposed Evelyn to the realities of illness and caregiving from a young age. By 10, Evelyn was helping her grandmother with small tasks, measuring blood pressure, organizing pill bottles, and listening to patient stories. Ruth taught her to pay attention to details, to notice what people didn't say as much as what they did. Evelyn absorbed these lessons, developing a keen sense of observation that would later define her. School wasn't easy, money was tight, and Harlem's public schools were underfunded, but Evelyn excelled in science, fascinated by the human body. Her teachers encouraged her to pursue nursing, but college was out of reach. After high school, she took a job as a housekeeper to support herself and her grandmother, who was battling arthritis. At 28, Evelyn landed a job with the cleaning staff at the penthouse of Richard Langley, a billionaire tech mogul whose fortune came from developing cybersecurity software. Langley, 62, was known for his sharp mind and relentless work ethic. But in recent months, his health had faltered. He suffered from chronic fatigue, muscle weakness, and episodes of confusion that alarmed his family and business associates. His wife, Catherine, and son, James, hired the best doctors, cardiologists, neurologists, endocrinologists, even specialists from Europe and Asia. Tests were run, MRIs, blood panels, genetic screenings. Theories ranged from rare neurological disorders to autoimmune diseases, but no diagnosis stuck. Langley's condition worsened, and the doctor's frustration grew. Evelyn worked in the background, cleaning the penthouse's marble floors and dusting its modern art. She was invisible to most, her uniform and quiet demeanor blending into the daily routine. But Evelyn noticed things. She saw how Langley's symptoms seemed to spike after meals, how his hands trembled slightly when he drank his morning juice, and how his confusion was worse on days when he took certain medications. She didn't have a medical degree, but her years with her grandmother had taught her to trust her instincts. She kept her observations to herself, unsure if anyone would listen to a housekeeper. The Langley household was a revolving door of medical professionals. Each doctor brought new tests, new drugs, and new theories, but Langley only grew weaker. Catherine, desperate, offered bonuses for a breakthrough, while James scoured medical journals for answers. The staff whispered about Langley's decline, some speculating he wouldn't recover. Evelyn, meanwhile, began paying closer attention. She noticed a pattern. Langley's symptoms often worsened after he took a specific supplement, a custom-blended vitamin drink prescribed by a naturopath. The drink, touted as a health booster, was a daily ritual prepared by the kitchen staff and delivered to Langley's bedside. One morning, as Evelyn cleaned the kitchen, she overheard two doctors discussing Langley's latest test results. They were stumped, ruling out heavy metal poisoning and metabolic disorders. Evelyn paused, wiping down a counter, and thought about the supplement. She'd seen the bottle, bright green, with a label boasting exotic ingredients. Something about it nagged at her. Her grandmother had once treated a neighbor who got sick from a natural remedy that turned out to contain unlisted herbs that interacted with his medication. Evelyn wondered if Langley's drink could be the culprit. She hesitated to speak up. She was a housekeeper, not a doctor, and the penthouse was filled with experts who hadn't noticed what she had. But as Langley's condition deteriorated, Evelyn felt she couldn't stay silent. She approached Catherine during a rare quiet moment in the library. "Mrs. Langley," she said, her voice steady but respectful, "I've noticed something about Mr. Langley's symptoms. They seem worse after he takes that green supplement. Could it be causing a problem?" Catherine, exhausted and skeptical, frowned. "The doctors approved it," she said. "It's just vitamins." Evelyn pressed gently, mentioning her grandmother's experience with harmful supplements. Catherine, though doubtful, agreed to mention to the lead physician, Dr. Alan Kessler. Dr. Kessler, a renowned internist, dismissed the idea at first. "A housekeeper is not qualified to make medical observations," he told Catherine. But Catherine, desperate for any lead, insisted he look into it. Kessler ordered a detailed analysis of the supplement, expecting to find nothing unusual. Days later, the lab results came back, and the room went quiet. The supplement contained an unlisted ingredient, a rare herb known to interact with Langley's heart medication, causing toxicity that mimicked neurological symptoms. The herb, sourced from an unregulated supplier, had slipped through the naturopath's oversight. Kessler was stunned. He called a meeting with the other doctors, presenting the findings. The team traced Langley's symptoms to the interaction, confirming that stopping the supplement could reverse his decline. They adjusted his treatment, discontinuing the drink and tweaking his medications. Within days, Langley's energy returned, his tremors lessened, and his confusion began to clear. The doctors, humbled, admitted they'd overlooked the supplement, assuming it was harmless. Catherine, grateful but shaken, sought out Evelyn. "How did you know?" she asked. Evelyn explained her grandmother's lessons, her habit of noticing patterns, and her gut feeling about the drink. "I just paid attention," she said simply. Word of Evelyn's insight spread through the household. James, Langley's son, thanked her personally, admitting he'd underestimated her. The doctors, though reluctant to admit fault, acknowledged her role in private discussions. Langley, recovering steadily, asked to meet Evelyn. In a brief conversation, he expressed his gratitude, asking about her background. She shared her story, her childhood in Harlem, her grandmother's caregiving, her love for science. Langley, impressed, offered to fund her education, suggesting she pursue nursing or medicine. Evelyn was hesitant, unsure she could leave her job, but Langley insisted, setting up a scholarship through his foundation. Evelyn enrolled in a nursing program at NYU, balancing classes with her work. She excelled, her practical experience giving her an edge. Meanwhile, Langley's recovery became a quiet news story, with some outlets mentioning the housekeeper who saved a billionaire. Evelyn shied away from the spotlight, focusing on her studies and volunteering at a Harlem clinic, where she taught health literacy to seniors. Her grandmother, now in her 70s, beamed with pride, telling neighbors, "That's my Evelyn. She sees what others miss." The penthouse incident reshaped Evelyn's life. She graduated with honors, becoming a registered nurse and later a nurse practitioner. She continued working with underserved communities, using her story to inspire others. Langley, fully recovered, became an advocate for patient safety, funding research into supplement regulations. Evelyn's name was rarely mentioned in his speeches, but those who knew the truth never forgot the housekeeper who outsmarted 20 doctors with a single brilliant observation.